Libra, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Now keep in mind that these are general readings, my friends, and they may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements, because you could have messages in those readings which will give you more of a complete picture. Okay, my friends, let's see. What is the energy around the week ahead for Libra? Oh, we got, oh my goodness, look at that. Coming out without any hesitation. We see a change in the wind with soulmates and poised. Oh, I can't see what that one is. Okay. Tick-tock. Yang. Okay. Libra. This is lovely. This looks like a new beginning for you and a certain person in your life. And it's time. You're ready. You're ready for this. You may not see or trust this change, but it feels like there's a part of you that is ready for it. There's a dynamic here, Libra, that has been needing a change. Look at that. You've got the Yin card. Or I'm pointing at the Yang card. You've got the Yang card and the Yin card. One at the top of your reading and one on the bottom of the deck. This really is speaking to a divine counterpart here. And something is shifting. And you may not see it coming. You may not necessarily feel like this change could lead to a positive outcome. It's interesting. This change in the wind, seeing that card in reverse says to me that, you know, there are things in your life that you may not have any control over, and it's best not to fight them. And that in this regard, change is sort of inevitable. That's what it feels like, that you're sort of moving into a place of renewed clarity when it comes to a significant relationship, and that there's this idea of understanding that sometimes things don't turn out as you imagined they should, but that there are always ways to sort of see how to do something even better. And I think that's exactly what's happening in this reading for you, that there's a person in your life who has this like sacred task to bring about this shift, you know, and it's interesting. It's like the shift is coming from this person, or the shift is because of this relationship. You know, it's almost like the shift is either because of the person that you're in this relationship with, or the shift is in the relationship itself. But it's interesting to see yin and yang and soulmates and divine timing. I mean, wow, like that's actually it's making me a little bit speechless here, because I really feel like this is really a true divine couple that is working with reflective energy here, that one person represents the yang and the other person represents the yin. We have the divine masculine, we have the divine feminine, we have this divine timing here with the soulmate card. So that says that there is this significant contract between Libra and someone in their life. And, you know, if this is resonating for you, you know exactly who this person is that this reading is referring to, and that there is a significant change sort of moving towards this, and you've been ready for a change for some time. Well, the time is here. We see it in TikTok, this card here. I really feel like you're moving towards an outcome or a shift in situation, or there is something shaking loose here so that you can sort of experience a new phase of this relationship, or if you perhaps are ready for this to sort of evolve. It's almost like a renewal, and it's almost like this is a time where it's happening exactly when it needs to happen. This is a very interesting reading, Libra. I'm really interested to see where the tarot cards will take us here for Libra in this soulmate connection, where Something is shifting right on schedule. I think you feel ready for it, but there's something about this that makes me feel like you have doubts that anything could change this dynamic. That's the feeling I get when I see this change in the wind card in reverse, is that you don't necessarily feel like any amount of change could do anything to sort of bring this partnership into balance. And yet here we are. And I feel like, let's see what's going to happen here. Okay, we see the Seven of Wands. Let's get your first row out first and see what the story is here. We've got the Seven of Wands. We see the Hierophant in reverse. Four of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles. Interesting. And the Page of Wands. Okay. So what this is telling me, Libra, is that right now, this situation could evolve very much like we said, with divine timing. Like right now, I feel like you've been defensive. You've been sort of really trying to defend yourself against some energy that just feels like you want to reject it. You feel like there's always losses in this dynamic, and that you're still hanging on to it for some reason, but also rebelling against it. It's an interesting dynamic. It's like you feel like you have to defend yourself all the time. You feel on guard all the time around this other person, and yet you hang on. You're not letting them go. There's a part of you that always sort of feels like they don't give you that feeling of belonging or security, and yet you're still hanging on to this connection, and yet you still rebel against it as well. Like it's almost like being in a relationship where you feel diminished, or you don't feel seen by your partner, and yet you're still there, and yet in that dynamic you're still sort of actively rejecting the way that they treat you. It doesn't feel to you like it could ever shift. That was sort of that feeling I had when I was looking at this card, feeling like there's a part of you that almost feels like nothing could change this. And then all of a sudden, it's almost like you go into a period of recovery where you put your mind at rest, and something comes along to really change things, and it's outside of your control. It's interesting seeing this Two of Wands here. It's almost like all of a sudden something comes along to shift the dynamic, and suddenly we see the Seven of Swords. And so that makes me wonder if all of the sudden someone is suddenly gonna either like have a communication that leads to them leaving, or someone is piecing out without even saying a word. Like this Seven of Swords to me always represents, when it's in the upright position, always represents someone who's trying to escape something without causing a scene or without even being noticed. It's almost like sneaking away. And there's this energy sometimes associated with this card as being deceptive. But in this spread, I'm almost seeing this as someone tiptoeing quietly away. And it's interesting. It's almost like you're taking steps to move away from a person in your space, Libra. It's like you've decided that it's no longer worth defending yourself. It's no longer worth feeling like you don't belong. It's no longer worth hanging on to this anymore, and hanging on to it and still fighting it. It's almost like someone decides, well, I'm just going to leave. I'm gonna leave. It's very specific message here. There's the Magician. I feel like you're actively finding yourself a new pathway here, Libra. This is really very interesting. And there's the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. There's a connection here that is finished. Something has ended this connection. And there's the Four of Wands in reverse, which to me can be a signal that, we need to be grateful for the experience that we've had. But I feel like seeing that Ten of Pentacles in reverse says that someone is going to reject this connection. Someone is moving away from this connection. It really feels like someone is like, you know what? this is finished. Let's just end this cycle of feeling defensive and feeling like I don't belong and feeling like I'm not grounded or secure in this relationship, and that I'm always feeling like I have to recover, and then I almost feel like I just want to escape. It's very interesting reading. Let's clarify this, because, on the beginning, on the outset, it almost felt like this couple was going to stay together, but now it almost feels like whoever I'm reading for right now is planning their exit, that they're actually making strides here to see how they can remove themselves from this relationship. I'm looking at that Seven of Wands. There's the King of Wands. So it's almost like you've reached a maximum level here where you just can't keep your cool anymore. You're just, yeah. And there's the King of Cups. So it's like you're done getting pulled into the drama of this. You're just done. And I think you've had one too many experiences in this situation where you're like, I'm done sacrificing my own nervous system, where I constantly feel triggered. And it's like you've opted for inner peace here. And there's the Ten of Cups. I feel like you're choosing emotional fulfillment elsewhere. Libra, for whoever I'm reading for, Libra is choosing emotional fulfillment somewhere else, some permanent idea of fulfillment and joy elsewhere. And there's the Queen of Cups, or the Queen of Rods, coming through with that Seven of Swords and the Four of Cups and the Hanged Man. So it's almost like, I feel like instead of hanging on to this, and look, on the bottom of the deck is the Four of Pentacles, which is what we're clarifying right now. Very, very interesting reading. It really feels like this divine couple is going to sort of find a way to amicably resolve this relationship and sort of move away from it. But it's almost like that is not the guidance. I feel like that might be what Libra has on their mind, but actually you're being guided away from that. You're being guided to find some kind of resolution in the relationship. Isn't that interesting? So it's almost like you're tempted to leave, but there's this idea here that says, no, continue. Oh, wow, Libra, you're getting pulled all over the place here. We see the Ace of Swords strength and the Knight of Swords. It's like there's a part of you that just wants to get on your horse and ride and get away from this connection. There's a part of you that really wants to leave this connection, whoever I'm reading for, and yet you're going to stay, I think. I think you're going to stay, and it's almost like you're gonna shift your perspective on things and find success. Isn't that interesting? This is going up and down and up and down. And even the energy as I'm reading this, there's that 6, 7. Wow. It's very cyclical, this relationship you're in, Libra. There's moments where you're like, that's it, I'm leaving. That's it. And then there's moments where you're like, no. Calm down and let's really work on this. And then you start again. And then you find yourself defensive again. And then you find yourself feeling like you want to leave again. And it's like you can't make heads or tails of what to do in this relationship. And, it's so interesting. The guidance you keep getting is this idea of sort of get distance from these negative ways of thinking. And remember why you loved this person in the first place. But I feel like even with that, you're having a hard time imagining a future moving forward that's happy with this person. But the guidance seems to be like, move away from these thoughts. And as I say, move away from these thoughts, we see the Chariot on the bottom of the deck, which says to me you could actually move. Like you could leave the city. The Chariot, the driver is leaving the city and he's going somewhere where there's less competition, where there's less need to defend yourself, where there's less sort of feeling like you don't belong. he's out of there. So again, we're getting this idea that you could want to leave. But it's interesting. It's almost like the reading is showing us what you are feeling and what the guidance is simultaneously. It feels like there's a part of you that really just wants to move away from this connection. And for some of you, it might literally be a move, like a move from one city to another city, or from a city to a small town, or from a busy part of the city to a suburb instead. Like, it's interesting. And there's a part of you that's trying to really control this situation so that the outcome is more favorable. But I think you keep running into a place where you feel like you have to defend yourself. You always feel like you're on the defensive with this person, and that having success with them, it's kind of like up and down, up and down, up and down. You have great moments, and then you have moments where you're like, I am out of here. And it's like one extreme to the other. And it almost feels like this is a soulmate contract. I see so many indications here that this is your person, that you were meant to sort of be with in this lifetime, to sort through some stuff. Like, it's like you mirror each other. You're the yin to their yang, or they're the yang to your yin. Like, there is this divine couple vibe here, this twin vibe. It almost feels like twin flame. Very interesting. The Aquarius reading was also very twin flamey vibe. So if your person is an Aquarius, or if you're cross watcher and you're Aquarius, you might want to check out that reading, because that really felt like this reading. Very back and forth, very up and down. And very mixed in terms of what's the actual guidance here to do. It feels like the guidance is to get distance from some of these ways of thinking, getting some recovery, getting distance from a situation that feels really challenging and heavy and onerous. But then there's also this vibe of bringing in this healing situation, where perhaps you're meant to be grateful for this connection in terms of what it's taught you, and maybe you're meant to stay. Maybe the idea of running away is just looking for a shortcut. It's so interesting because we see two sets of divine couples. We see the Queen and King of Wands, and we see the King and Queen of Cups. So I feel like this is a very emotional situation, but it's also driving you sort of a little bit like, it's, it's really testing your will. You know what I mean? Like, it's emotional, it's testing your will, and it's bringing up a lot of different ways of looking at this. Like, some days you think you're leaving, and other days you're like, no, we're going to find a way to make this work. Let's see, what will the guidance be here from the Animal Oracle deck? I'm very curious. I might actually pull another deck for you, just because I'm so curious where's the guidance here, right? Is the guidance to stay or to go? It feels like adopting a new attitude will significantly help this situation. Watch your words. Isn't that interesting, Libra? Watch your words, the parrot spirit. So it's like you're really being guided to make sure you are sort of careful with what decision you make. You know what I mean? And to not say anything you might regret. It's such a fascinating reading. Like, really, really interesting. I just want to... Where's that deck? I'm looking for a certain deck. Okay, I want to see here what guidance you'll get from the surrender deck. What does Libra need to surrender or surrender to in this connection? What is the overall guidance here for Libra? The highest guidance for Libra. Go through the whole deck and see that one card wanting to flip. Okay. We've got surrender to the wisdom of your body, surrender to joy, and this card wanted to come out, surrender your fear of change. So, I think perhaps For some of you, this is a message of sort of trusting yourself and not being afraid if this connection is going to change, to not be afraid of that change. We did see that change in the wind, and to surrender to joy. So I really feel like the guidance here is to trust yourself, to allow changes as they are coming up outside of your control, and to sort of surrender to joy. That a key to positive change in your life is to let in the joy, which is that 10 of Cups, like to choose to be happy. During the hard times and the easy times, keep surrendering to more joy. Now, we're also seeing here surrender to the wisdom of the body. So listen to your body's messages about a person or situation. If it's physically draining or uncomfortable, be cautious. If you're energized or happy, move forward. It's interesting because I think that you feel both ways sometimes in this reading. The fear card here says the universe is reminding you that you are cared for always, whether you're afraid of a change in your job, your health, or a relationship, or if it's a fear of aging or death. Repeat this affirmation: I have faith that all is well. And on the bottom of the deck, we see this: surrender your fear of intimacy. You are ready to let love in compassionately. There was a period there. You are ready to let love in, period. Compassionately identify and begin to release any patterns that stop you from opening your heart. This is fascinating. There's a big shift coming in this relationship. For some of you Libras out there, you have this instinct to run. You have this instinct to run as fast and as far as possible. And for others of you, you're oscillating between, should I stay? Should I go? Should I stay? Should I go? And I think for others of you, you're thinking, I need to choose joy. I need to focus on why this relationship is good instead of focusing on why it's not good. You know, it's almost like trying to find the good in a situation that you would label as bad. For some of you, I think you're getting very clear indications from your physical body as to what you need to do. Like, you know, have you ever been in a relationship that actually starts to make you sick because you're holding so much resentment, or you're holding so much unspoken words? I love that you got this watch your words card, that you actually start to feel sick. And I think actually for some of you, the block here is intimacy. The block here is that you're unable to really let someone in. And as a result, you sort of feel alone in a relationship where really that maybe the other person feels exactly the same way. They wish that you would open up and let them in. This has been a fascinating reading, and I feel like it's going to resonate for very specific Libras that are in a relationship that's got you up and down, up and down. What a fascinating reading. You are really being guided to surrender to the change coming in this relationship is outside of your control, and that all will be well one way or the other, and that you do balance each other out in some way. You've got that yin yang energy, you've got that soulmate energy. We see two pairs of divine couples here. I can't help but think that there's an opportunity here to shift a dynamic in a relationship, but it's coming from the external. The shift is coming from outside of you, and you've got to decide what to do with this now. Will you stay? Will you go? Will you stay and shift your perspective? Will you stay with the same perspective and then constantly feel like you want to leave? It's a very interesting reading. I'm going to leave it at that for you, Libra. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope it's been helpful. If it's resonated for you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, commenting. If you would like a personal reading, I am running a special right now where for the month of December, recorded readings are $44. If you're interested in that, please send me an email and we can set it up. And as always, I look forward to reading for you again soon. Sending you so much love and light, my friends. Take care.